screen.
Sorry, I cannot hear from you, Sophie.
I think recording should be starting.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Can I share my screen?
Just a minute, Leticia, because I will introduce you first and then you can share. Hello, Louise.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We are just waiting more 1 minute just to wait people coming. Okay. I think that we can start and people will come in, and just to keep the presentation on time. So welcome everyone. It's good to see you here on our Salus Coffee Talks, our section of June. Today we'll have a presentation of a research project. It's a research project from Letícia Fonseca. Leticia is a nutritionist, graduated at the University of São Paulo in Brazil. She is currently a master's student in the postgraduate program in nutrition and metabolism at the University of São Paulo too, under my supervision and the co-supervision of Professor Elke Stedfelde too. Leticia, welcome to our section. And now you can share your screen. You have 15 minutes, and then we will have a Q&A section, and people can make questions for you if they want.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, you can put on the presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it's working.
So let's start. So first, I would like to thank you all. So my project of master at supervisor Professor Dr. Laís Zanin, it's called Intervention Based on Food Safety Culture, a longitudinal study at hospital catering. So we all know that we have some problems involving foodborne diseases that affect 600 million people every year. 420,000 of them die, of which 125,000 of them are children under 5 years old. So the main cause of that is the inefficiency of traditional food handlers' hygiene training. As we know, food safety culture has been recognized as a phenomenon that can shape food safety behavior. So, the definition we are using here at this project is the Sherman, Wallace, and Jesperson 2020 definition that says the food safety culture is a long-term construct existing at the organizational level related to the deeply rooted beliefs, behaviors, and assumptions that are learned and shared by all employees, which impact the food safety performance of the organization. To access the culture, we are using 8 elements. There are leadership, communication, knowledge, commitment, risk perception, work pressure and normative beliefs, work environment, management systems, styles, and processes. To classify the culture, we are using strengths as strong or weak and polarities as positive or negative to conclude a proactive, reactive, or active food safety culture at the end. We are studying some behavior change wheels to use as intervention as to our project. The behavior change wheel we are using is called COMBI model. That is a behavior change framework that proposes 3 necessary components for any behavior to occur. So capacity, opportunity, and motivation equals to behavior. We start with the question, what conditions need to happen for the behavior target to be met? Here, I have some images separated by color that we can visualize better the behavior chain wheel. So at the center, we have the behavior. In green, we have the capacity that can be physical capacity or psychological capacity. The physical capacity equals to skills, and psychological capacity is the knowledge. Here on orange, we have behavior strongly connected to physical opportunity or social opportunity, such as resources and social pressure. Here at pink, we have the motivation. Can be reflexive motivation, such as beliefs, or automatic motivations as emotions. These 3 components, capacity, opportunity, and motivations, are capable of changing the behavior. So, until now, until our knowledge, it hasn't been characterized yet the food safety culture at hospital level in published papers. So, food safety culture has been studied at institutional and commercial food services, but not at hospital level yet. This is an environment where there are bigger risks of spreading contagious conditions. The patients are already in a vulnerable health.
I need to wait. But if you want to go.
What?
You can continue, Leticia. Just
Okay.
go.
Patients are already in a vulnerable health condition, and there are greater risk for children, the elderly, the pregnant woman, and immunocompromised patients. So the research question here is the COMBI model intervention based on food safety culture diagnosis capable of proactively evolving the food safety culture on a hospital catering? The object of the study is to evaluate the COMBI model intervention based on food safety culture diagnosis in a hospital catering. So we'll be characterizing the service and the employees, developing and implementing interventions based on the COMBI model. This is a descriptive, longitudinal, and exploratory study with a mixed method approach. The field of study is the catering that has 120 food handlers and 10 managers. It serves 4,000 meals a day, including breakfast, lunch, dinner, and supper, so it's open 24 hours a day. The catering follows a self-management model with outsourced sectors. So the study design, we separated in 6 steps. We are in the first step yet, which is the submission to Research Ethics Committee. Then we'll have our first food safety culture assessment and first data analysis. Then we'll have the theoretical elaboration of the intervention using COMBI method. We'll have the intervention and then a second food safety culture assessment. And then a final data analysis. As a data analysis tool, we are using an automated Excel spreadsheet that has been published and Portuguese, which allows the integration of quantitative and qualitative information through scores for the total of 27 characteristics. We are using a mixed method approach, combining quantitative and qualitative methods. So we are using questionnaires for food handlers and managers, infrastructure checklist, risk assessment checklist, and participants observation with an interpretation table. The data automated Excel spreadsheet will integrate all the data. For the managers, the questionnaires don't include leadership, work pressure, and work environment elements. And for the food handlers questionnaires, all elements will be covered. The checklist of Anvisa, a regulatory organ of Brazil, we're evaluating 57 items that includes structures, drains and grills, grease traps, lighting, electrical and sanitary installation, ventilation, changing rooms, wash basins, equipments, utensils, and furniture. That will score for workplace elements. The result will be obtained through the percentage of adequacy of the applicable items. For the second checklist, we will score for the management system styles and processes element, and we'll check water supply, structure, sanitation, integrated vector control and urban policies, food handlers, raw materials, ingredients, packaging, food preparation, storage, transportation, and display of prepared foods, documents, and records. The score will be converted using factor loads, calculated based on the main causal factors of foodborne diseases. So the risk degree can go from low to very high risk. There will be 15 days of participant observation for the subjective evaluation of the 8 elements based on an interpretation table subdivided into 80 observation items. Each item will receive a score from 1 to 3, being reactive, 1, active, 2, or 3, proactive. The average of the scores of every element will be calculated to quantitatively characterize the food safety culture. The interpretation grid will add the average score of the quantitative and qualitative data of each element. As there are 8 elements, score between 1 and 3, the sum of the average score of the elements can vary between 8 and 24 points. So after we understand why a specific behavior occurs, we can plan the intervention. We will prioritize actions in order of need, identified by the prevailing score. So the lower the score, the higher the priority. So finally, we will have a new data collection will be carried out in order to analyze and measure the impact of the intervention, comparing the initial prevalent food safety culture with the score after the intervention. We expect that the prevalent food safety culture can be proactively evolved based on combi intervention. And we hope this study can support food safety culture assessment and interventions in other hospital catering. Here are some references. And thank you all for the attention.
Thank you, Leticia, and congratulations on your presentation. So now, if someone wants to make some questions to Leticia, I just want to say again that this is a presentation of a research project, so we do not have any results yet. We are in the first stage of the ethics committee, so we are just planning, but we would like to share the presentation with you and the ideas. Someone has a question?
I'm Fiona.
Hello, thank you. Can I speak? Thank you very much for your presentation. So I'm just starting also a research project into food safety culture in hospitals in the UK. I'm at a similar stage as well to you. So just gone through the ethics approval, and I'm just starting with my quantitative research. So as you say, there's very little research done in hospitals, so it'd be good to keep in touch, and maybe, just exchange, keep up to date on each other's progress. That would be very welcome. So I don't have a specific question, but I just wanted to point out that I'm doing similar research in hospitals.
It's very nice. Thank you. Let's keep in touch.
Fiona, if I can just say, if you could put your email on the chat, maybe it could be nice to change some emails and ideas of the research in the hospital catering. Thank you. I guess that's Lois.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. My question is, you've developed a framework of a whole range of different factors. Have you undertaken expert validation of that framework before you use it, or are you intending to get expert validation so that that'll give you a better grounding and an explanation for why you're using it? I just wondered if you were going to use that approach.
You mean the framework combi model?
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of studies showing that it's a great way to intervention. We are trying to see if it's going to work out. So we're still studying the methods and studying how we're going to apply it. So, Laís, if you would like to.
Okay, maybe Lois, I can add some things about this model. We are just trying to look for this a new method for intervention, and probably we will need some validation for the experts, but we are in the phase of the design of the method yet to the intervention. So we are planning to have this kind of experts trying to give us some insights and validation about the intervention yet.
I just for that be useful in looking at publishing the work that you've gone through that step in your methodology.
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to hear your findings at another presentation.
Thank you for your comments, Lois, and maybe we can have another opportunity to share the results in the future. I guess that Irao, I don't know then if I pronounce it correctly.
Just call me Tayo.
Sorry.
Yeah, just Tayo's fine. No, it's just actually on the back of Louise's comment, because I actually used that model to do a diagnosis. So there's quite a lot of the actual module itself in terms of interventions. There's some validation for different things that have happened, but it's not. There's very little in our area in terms of actually being used for food, but it's used a lot in healthcare. Yeah, so there's some publications in healthcare, people stopping smoking, even in things, there's one on hand hygiene. There's quite a few around, but when I was looking at this, I actually didn't see that there's not one in this area of food safety culture and using it. So I've got experience of using it to actually diagnose, so to map findings against those constructs of the psychological blah and all of that kind of stuff. And it was very valuable in actually, and also if you've got qualitative stuff that you're doing interviews and things like that. So what I learned was very valuable is after the observations, and I'd mapped it almost like just the raw findings against it. I did the qualitative interviews, then after then it teased out a lot of the findings in terms of what they thought, why, it's really good at teasing out the underlying reasons, and you would sometimes find that it's quite different from what they've told you before. Does that make sense when you're asking pointed questions about, the psychological stuff or their motivation, in terms and things like that? And I found that really interesting because they own up to things in that they didn't say before, because the module guides you in terms of the sort of questions you could ask to tease out, so some of those underlying beliefs. So again, if you're wanting any, any pointers or anything on that, I'm quite happy to, to help in that. But it'd be very useful. So so it's not a question, it's more of just share my experience with using that model.
Thanks, Tayo.
Thank you. Maybe we can also keep in touch with you just to have some discussions and insights. Thank you. Sophie?
Yeah. So first, apologies if there's any background noise. Today's actually my day off, but I really want to listen in. So my research is also around the behavior aspect, but I'm using a different model. So I'm really curious about the model. I've never heard of this before. The model I've been using is the ABC model. So antecedent, behavior, and consequence. So basically, we put the behavior in the middle to examine in the environment what are the possible antecedents leading to that behavior. And then from here, what are the potential consequences? So that could be positive, like recognition. It also could be negative consequences. And then how the consequence reinforce the same behavior. So I'm using that model. So that's really, it doesn't really take the psychological and the motivational piece that you are talking about. So I'm really curious to learn the findings, and because I would think probably it will lead to different set of interventions compared to if you are using a different model. So yeah, I would be interested to learn.
Thank you, Sophie. Also, Louise, you want to?
Me again. Sorry, I'm getting really excited about your research now. The other bit that I think would be interesting to look at when you do qualitative interviews is very often the food safety management system that is put in place is the least cost food safety management system. And where you've got reactive, active, and proactive, it might be interesting to ask some questions around cost, because they may have made decisions and judgments for the interventions they've got in place for food safety, not because they're the best interventions, but because of the cost of implementing them, or the fact that they don't have the skills or capability to implement them. So it'd be really interesting not just to score, but to find out why those different interventions are either implemented or not.
Okay, thank you. Leticia, do you want to say something?
No, just thank you.
Thank you for the suggestions.
Yeah.
So I think that in the future, we will have more data and results to share with the group, and maybe some different things. And we can also collect your insights if you are open to help with the project. The Combi model is also new for me, so we are just trying to look for that and try to see models for behavior in the food safety and to relate with food safety culture. So it's something that we are trying to go inside. So thank you everyone for the suggestions. I guess that no one wants to say something. We can just end the section. But first, I would like to say that in the next month, on July, we will not have our Salus Coffee Talks due to the IFP annual meeting. So we will focus our energy in the meeting, and then we have a break on August, and maybe we will return on September. I'm correct, Sophie, with the.
You're correct. I will update the invite. So next time we see each other, will be September.
In September, yes.
Virtually, obviously, if you're in ISP.
Yeah, in July, if you go to the ISP annual meeting. So thank you everyone for joining us. I guess that it's very, very helpful to be here and to discuss these nice projects that we did on today and on the other sections. So thank you so much for everyone that joined us. See you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day for you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leticia.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.